we're going to be working on hip mobility and strength. First of all, I want you just to sit with your legs stretched out. Feel free to sit on a cushion if you want. And just relax your shoulders. Keep your knees soft if you need to. Take a breath in and then breathe out. Just nod your chin. And then I want you just to slide your hands down your legs and just notice where you get to. So where can you kind of comfortably, without really pushing it, but where can you reasonably comfortable get to? And that's just going to be your check-in for later to see if you've managed to open up the hips a little bit. So I'm going to lean back, so I'm going to have a long spine, lean back, and then I'm going to bring the knees flat, lift the toes up, and then externally rotate at the thighs here. I'm going to lengthen the legs, internally rotate, and bring them back in. I'm going to do that again. It's a bit easier to do off the mat. So I'm leaning back, I'm pushing the floor away, so I've got a bit of energy in my arms and my legs, and I'm opening up the legs. Out, and then I rotate them in, pull back, and then out. Okay, and then I'm going to do that just a couple of times. And then I'm going to reverse it, so I'm going to open up and then pull in, and then internally rotate, out. A bit easy on the floor, we can just drag the heels a little bit. You can do it on the mat. And then release. Okay, and then we're going to cross the legs, and then I'm going to just slowly crawl forwards. Now you could stay here, that might be enough, or you could come all the way down, kind of trying to keep your spine will round, but keep it long for as long as possible, and then you can release. If that doesn't work for you as a stretch, lengthen one leg, bring the other leg across, and then do your twist here. Okay, so that's your alternative. Or you're here and you're just allowing yourself to go heavy. Try not to lift the bum off the floor. Sit bones are down. And then I'm just going to slowly come up and then change legs. Same thing here. We'll just do the same on the other side. I'll show you that in a second. Just reaching forwards. Stay here if you want, or release all the way down. Oh, that always feels great. Or lengthen the other leg, hook the arm around and twist. So again, you're stretching and opening up the side of the hip. Whenever you are stretching, just keep breathing. Full breath, full deep breaths. And then I'm going to come up. Then I'm going to come over my knees, or in any way you want, come onto your hands and knees. And then you're going to just rock backwards and forwards. So spread out your fingers, turn the inside of the elbows to point forwards, and then just rock. So I'm in a strong position. I'm not kind of just hanging out here. I'm quite strong, and then I try and keep the back as flat as possible. Your rocking might be here, quite small, or you might go all the way back to heels, a little bit beyond your wrists. Okay, just keep your head and neck in line with the rest of the spine. And then you could just do a few circles here. And then you're going to come back into the middle. So keep your weight evenly spread between those 4 points. And I'm going to lift one leg out to the side and back in. And then lift and lower. And as I do that, I'll show from the front. Try and keep the other leg vertical, so I'm not leaning over and pushing this leg out. I want it to stay still. I'm only lifting out to the side. Same leg is going to stay lifted. I flex the foot and then I circle. Circles could be really small, or you can try and make them much, much bigger if you want. But again, nothing else is going to move a lot anyway. Change direction. Notice how much you're using your trunk here to keep you stable. And come down. And again, as always, you can do many more repetitions of these, but I'm just trying to keep it within a kind of relatively short 10-minute video. Okay, and then I'm going to circle. Change direction. And then bring your leg down. Okay, and then I'm going to sit back. And then I'm going to drop the hips to one side. And then I'm going to drop the hips to the other side. And if you don't like sitting all the way back because it doesn't feel good on the knees, you could just stay here on your hands and knees and then shift your weight side to side. So I'm stretching out the outside of the hips, Or you can take the hands away, take them off the floor, and feel free to do a little reach. So you're just using your arm for a bit of counterbalance here. Okay, and then I'm going to show from the front. I'm going to move over to one side, and then I'm going to just open up the legs here. Okay, I'm going to lean back, hand on the top hip. I'm just going to roll backwards and forwards a few times. And this might be where you stay, if that feels good. Or you now bring both arms behind you, lift the knees, and then roll over to the other side. This is where I kind of try to stay within a normal mat doesn't really work. So maybe having two mats, or just don't worry about the mat if you've got a carpeted floor somewhere where you're quite comfortable. Okay, so side to side, you can take the hands away and then do it without the support of your arms. I'm traveling, traveling forwards. And then I'm going to stop to the other side, and I do the same here. I just roll the hip a little bit backwards and forwards. And then I'm going to do a little reach, and then I'm going to bring the knees up. I'm going to reach the other way, and then I'm going to reach, and reach, and come back. I'm going to cross the legs, and then I'm going to lean forwards and then come up. And then I'm going to come back down, crossing the legs, sitting down slowly, and then try that on the other side. So I cross the legs, I lean forwards, ooh, and then I come back down. Again, crossing the legs and forwards, and I'm going to come down. Okay, I'm going to bring both legs to one side, and then I'm going to lie on the side. And you can rest your head all the way down. I'm just going to prop it up for now. My feet, my hips, and the shoulders are all in one line. My knees are stacked. I put a hand on the hip, and I just encourage this sit bone here to push away so that the waist lengthens both underneath and at the top. And then I squeeze and release. So I lift the top knee, and I'm using the back and the side of the hip to create that lift. So you can stay there, or you can add a little wave. So I lift the knee, then the foot, knee comes down, foot goes down. Okay, so the main thing here is that you don't shrink the waist, nor are you rolling backwards as you are moving the legs. So just try and make the movement happen from your waist rather than the lower back. Last one. And then I'm going to come down. Over to the other side. So you swing around. Or just roll over to the other side. Again, feet are stacked, knees are stacked. Send your top sit bone away, and then lift and lower. And then again, you can stay with this. Make sure the ribs aren't pushing forwards. I just noticed I was doing that. And then you add the wave. So I lift the knee first, and then I lift the foot past the knee. So I'm, again, internally and externally rotating in the hip. You can keep your hand on the side of the hip, and you'll feel that lovely movement. Just going to do one more. And then bring it down. I'm going to push myself up, and then we're going to do a little check-in. So I'm going to go back to this position. So having moved the hips a little bit, see how that feels now. So take a breath in, and then breathe out on the chin, and then slide forwards. And I got to that there last time, and I now get kind of beyond my wrist. So just notice if that's the same for you. If you can notice an improvement or not. Don't worry if you don't yet. Okay? I'm going to cross the leg and come up. And then we're going to do the little stepping over and stepping under. So again, really good for mobilizing and strengthening the hips. So I'm going to imagine something that I step over. It could be a small step, of course. The main thing here is that you're not really compromising on your back. So I'm not doing this. Okay, so you're upright, stepping over, and then you can step under. Again, you decide on the height of whatever you're stepping under. Okay, so if I show from the side again, you want that long spine. And then you can do both. So you do one over, and then you come back, go under. And then under. Okay, so I'm going to do it one more time. And then under. And then under. And then you're going to finish off with a little balance. Because hip mobility, really important to be able to get on and off the floor. And it's also really important for your gait. So it's the stability of your hips will make a big difference when you're walking. So if you don't have a beam, maybe you have a plank, or maybe you just put something like a piece of tape on the floor that you can balance on. So kind of the width of your feet, and then just very slowly. One foot in front of the other. Whether you're on something or not doesn't matter too much, but obviously the fear of falling increases with the height of whatever you're stepping on. You could also go backwards. Keep the rest of your body relaxed. And remember, it's okay to wobble, but try not to use your arms too much. In case you're holding on to something, you really want to rely on your trunk here for your stability. And then you can add just the one leg. So you just challenge yourself on one leg. Because again, it's important to know how you'd catch yourself if you do wobble. And if you are about to fall, what happens? Try that on the other side. Just, again, completely up to you what you do here. But just a bit of time on one leg. And then come back to standing. Find your balance and then see if you could just blink your eyes shut. Even just for a split second. And then maybe you can keep your eyes shut for a few seconds. Keep breathing, relax. Ooh. Much more challenging. I'm going to try with the other leg in front. Okay, same thing, find your balance. Relax, but feel like you're pressing down. So there's that grounding. You can always put a hand around your belly button too. And then you just blink. It's more challenging on this side. And then see if you can keep them closed for a few seconds. And then release. Okay, and there's your balance. The balance, there's your hip workout.